Hello my beautiful people, how you all doing? Welcome to my YouTube channel. In today's video, we're going to be drafting a basic skirt pattern. Yes, as simple as that sound. Skirt making has got beyond just folding your fabric or your pattern and dividing your measurement by 4 and just draw a straight line. There are details you need to follow in order to achieve a perfect fit. So if you are a beginner, this video is for you, and if you have advanced, you can still learn one or two things from this video. There are different methods on how to achieve a perfect fit these days, but this is how I do mine, and I want to share this with you. Please watch this video to the end in order not to miss any important parts. And also, we are going to be making use of this pattern in the future in this channel to make beautiful designs. If you are yet to subscribe, please do well to subscribe, like, share, and also drop your comments.
Here is the measurement I'm going to use. My waist is 30 and the hip is 40. The length of the skirt is going to be 24. So what you will do next is to create a block that you use. So and to do that, you have to use your hip to create the block, right? So now you need to take note that your hip circumference, that is the measurement around your hip, should not be divided equally between your back and your front. That is divided by 4. No, don't do that. The back should be more than the front so as to have room to accommodate the buttocks at the back. So now, to do that, to be able to achieve that, I have made it simple by writing some numbers you can use as a guide, and here is the numbers. So this is it, and I'm going to put us through on how you can make use of these numbers I've created here. So you need to know the difference between your waist circumference and your hip circumference. That is the measurement around your waist and around your hip. Now, if you have known that, if the difference is 2 inches to 5 inches, that is the difference between your waist and your hip circumference is 2 inches to 5 inches, use 0.25. And if the difference is 5.5 to 8 inches, use 0.5. And if the difference is 8.5 to 11 inches, use 0.75. If the difference is 12 inches upward, use 1 inch. So now let's use mine as example. My waist is 30. My waist is 30 and my hip is 40. The difference between my waist and my hip is 10 inches. So now, if you bring this back, mine now is falling on the third row, that is 0.75. So my back pattern will be more than my front pattern by 0. So this is my pattern. I'm going to draft the front and back on this pattern. So I'm going to measure 1 inch like this. So this 1 inch, now this line become our guide, and I'm also going to come down 1 inch here too at the upper part. These two become our guide. So I'm going to rule these lines now, right? So this become our center back. So this is our center back. You can see it here. This is the center back. So my hip measurement is 40. So 40 inches divided by 2 is 20. Now this 20 plus half an inch for ease. Half an inch for ease. So we are having 20.5. So I'm going to use 20.5 for my block, right? So use your measurement, take your measurement yourself and use it and follow what I am doing here. Measurements you are making use of, please add half an inch for ease, very important. So here I'm having 20.5. So 20.5 is what I'm going to use for the block of this pattern. So I will measure the 20.5 starting from this line, right? I will measure it starting from this center back, this line that I have here. This is my guideline and this is the side guideline. I'm not going to take any measurement from this side. I'm taking it from this line. So I will measure the 20.5 that we have now. I'm going to measure it here, and here is where I have the line, right? So this is where I have the line. So I'm going to rule it now straight down to my 24 inches length. So here is it. So here now, this part now, this is our center back, right? So this side now becomes our center front. So now note this pattern does not have seam allowance. So I've not considered seam allowance yet on this pattern, right? Since you have create the block now, the next thing to do is to divide this block by 2 in order for you to have your front and your back. So what you will do is that you bring this in, the amount you have here, that is what we are going to use to divide this. Remember, the measurement we are using is 40, and 40, the difference between the waist and the hip is 10 inches. So it falls on this third row here. So, and I'm making use of 0.75. So I'm going to mark this is the center back. So this is the back that will be more than the front. So I'm going to mark this 0.75 here. So when I do that, I will now divide the remaining one into 2. So let me do that now. So I'm going to place my tape rule this way. This is my 0.75, right? This line here. So I'll place it this way and mark my 0.75. So this is it. So what is remaining now is what I'm going to measure now. So I'll measure from here to this place. Here I'm having 19.75, right? So I'm going to divide that by 2. So what I will do is that I will just place my tape rule this way, place it into 2 this way, 19.75. So I'll place my tape rule this way now to have it, to divide it by 2. So here is what I have, 9.8, right? 9.8. So I will measure it starting from up here. I'll measure it from here, 9.8. So I'm going to divide that now. So this is my 9.8, and I'm going to make this line straight down. Now we've already divided this now, and we have achieved the back more than the front. So if you measure this now, what you will be having for the back, it will be more than the front. I have 10.6 total, while for the front I have 9.8. So now the back is more than the front now. So having achieved that, the next thing to do is to come down for your hip measurement. That is the vertical now. So your waist to your hip, vertical measurement, right? So my waist to hip is 9 inches. My waist to hip is 9 inches. So I'm going to mark that here, 9 inches. 9 inches. And I'll rule it. If your waist to hip is 8 inches, please go ahead and mark it. It's 7 inches, go ahead and mark it. So mine is 9 inches. Here is where I have it. Then the next thing to do is to mark 5 inches for your upper yoke, right? So the reason why we are marking this 5 inches, you are going to see that later on. So just go ahead and mark 5 inches there. So which is what I have done here, 5 inches, and I'm also going to rule it on both sides. So the next thing to do now is to get your waist circumference. Now our waist circumference is 13 inches. The one we are using on this tutorial is 13 inches. Now 13 inches divided by 4, we are having 7.5. So measure your 7.5 here. So starting from this line, you measure 7.5, and this is my 7.5. Then you add your dart measurement, right? Now my dart, I'm going to make use of 1 inches. So this is for my dart. I'm making use of 1 inches for my dart. So having achieved this, you have to connect this now to your upper yoke. That is really why we mark this 5 inches. So I've placed my ruler this way. So if you don't have this curved ruler, just go ahead and connect. But because I have my curved ruler, I'm going to place it this way now, then connect it this way. As simple as that. Next thing to do, you will do the same thing on this side too. So you're also going to measure your 7.5, which is your waist divided by 4 now. You're also going to mark it here, which is what I have here. And I also mark my dart too, 1 inch, which is what I have here. So place my ruler now this way, right? Then connect it this way. If you don't have ruler too, just connect with your hand. So now we've already created this. So the next thing to do is to mark where our dart will be. So there are different ways to achieve this. You can divide this waist by 2. Divide it by 2 this way. The center, mark the center part, or you can use your nipple to nipple, especially when you want to add it to your upper part. So you have to make sure that the lines are equal, right? So if you are using your nipple to nipple, that is the one bust point to the other, you can also mark it here. But because this I'm going to use it for skirts later on, I'm going to divide this by 2. So dividing it by 2, this is the main point here. So I'll mark the midpoint here. This is the midpoint. So remember that we use 1 inch. It's 1 inch that we add for the dart, right? So this is the 1 inch. I'm going to take in this 1 inch. Then I'll measure down 6 inches. You can slant this place if you want, but I'm going to make it straight. So depend on what you want. So here is it. So I'm connecting this now to this dart to form my dart leg. Connect these two with this to form my dart leg. I'm still going to do the same thing for the front too. I will divide this by 2, get the midpoint of this. I've gotten my midpoint here. Then I have half an inch on both sides because we took in 1 inch for the dart. Then for the front, the dart should not be too long, so I can do with this line that I have here, right? And you can make it a bit stand. You can see the way I place my ruler, right? You can see the way I placed it. So just slant it a bit. So just place it this way. For my dresses, I don't add that at the front. I can eliminate this dart later on, right? But this is our basic skirt pattern. So let's focus on this. So we have draft that now. So the next thing to do is to do the contouring at the back to have a perfect structure, well fitted shape at the back. So to achieve that, you are going to come in half an inch here. So you mark your half an inch here, right? In this place, I mark half an inch. Then at this buttock area, I'm going to connect this now to this line here. This my yoke line. So you see why this yoke line is very important. So I'll connect it this way. So connect it this way. Then at my hip upper part here, come down here too. So I'm going to come down 1 inch here. So you can make use of half an inch too, but I'm going to make use of 1 inch, right? Then at this down part, this is my skirt length. I'm going to come in 1 inch. This does not affect your measurements, please. Does not affect it in any way. So I'm going to connect this now to this. I'm going to connect it with straight ruler to this 1 inch that I come down, because I don't want it to be on top of my buttocks. That's the reason why I come down 1 inch. You can make use of half an inch. So I'll connect it this way, right? So with this now, you have created some room for your buttocks in this area, and this does not affect your measurements. Does not affect it at all. Rather, it gives you that perfect fit at your back side, right? And you can see how I shape it, and we don't want this place to be too sharp. That's the reason why we have some gap here. So this is just the secret, guys. This is just the secret. So we have done this now. So assuming you are sewing a skirt, what you will do is that for this front, remember this is our center front. So you have to come down, you have to lower it, right? Depend on the structure of the person. So you lower this place by half an inch. So then you connect it in a curved manner. Let's assume you don't have these curved rulers. So you connect it straight to meet this end here. So you can see the way I connect it to meet it here, right? So another thing you can do again too is to raise this up by half an inch. Also raise this up too by half an inch. That's if you are drafting this for a skirt. You have to do this to have this the upper part to fit in your waist, right? That is, you are doing removing all those excesses that you have on your skirt. So that is what I have done here. You go up half an inch, you go up half an inch here. So this is how to go about them. You connect this now. That means you are connecting this to the up here, and you're also going to connect this up, this one that you've taken up now, you raise up, you connect this one and you also go up here by 0.25, right? So let's mark it here, 0.20. Remember, this is the line now that we are making use of. We've come in half an inch, so I'm going to go up by 0.25, and I'm connecting it to this. You can see the way I'm connecting it. So I'm connecting it this way. So you can see the way I connect it. As simple as that. So just connect it like this. You can use your curve for this, all this thing that I've done here. You can use your curve, but I'm just assuming that we don't have our curve rulers, right? So using free hand. So you connect it this way, and you connect this lowering that you're doing at the center front, connect it to this half an inch that you raise up here. So that's how you go about this. So you can go ahead now and cut this pattern out. Use this to sew your straight skirt. But if you want it to be fitted, what you will do is that at this area you come in 1 inch here. So you come in 1 inch here. You also, for this for the back, and for the front too, you also come in 1 inch. So we are going to connect this now to this. The same thing we do here, that will come down 1 inch, you're also going to do it here, so that does not affect your hip area, right? So we are coming down 1 inch here. So now I'm going to connect this now to this with a straight ruler, so you can see how the shape has formed here. So with this now, you have a pencil skirt. Remember, this is the side. This is the side of your pattern. This is the center front and this is the center back. So this is all about it, guys. This is all about it. So please, if you don't understand, drop your comments, ask your questions, and also go over this video again to understand what we have done here. So it's as simple as this. You want to have a pencil skirt, what we've done here, we just take some excesses in order for the skirt to be pencil. That's what we've done here. It does not affect your measurement either. It just give you a perfect fit skirt. Or you want a straight skirt, you don't need this. If you know that you don't want it to be pencil, you want it straight, you don't need this. But if you want it to be pencil and fitted, then you need to do this. Please do not go beyond that 1 inch, except you want it to be very tight. That's when you go beyond. So this is how to draft your basic skirt. If you want to do it to have a long skirt, you can extend the length. Then you can also do your back slit at this other side. So this pattern is ready this way. So if I'm going to cut this, if I'm not using this with skirt only, if I'm going to add it to a upper part, I'm not going to make use of this lowering that I've done here. I'm going to use this straight line that I have, this guideline that I have here. This half an inch that I raised here is not needed if you are going to add it to a upper part. That is, you are turning it into a gown. You don't need this raising up of half an inch or lowering of half an inch that I did here. You don't need it. You just need to make use of this straight line here. So I'm going to make use of this line. So I'm going to cut this pattern out now. Right? So this is the pattern, right, that we drafted now. So I'm going to cut it out. Remember that the seam allowance has not been included yet, right? Our zip allowance would not add it yet either. So this is my center front. I'm cutting it out. So if I don't want my dart here, what I will just do, remember this is the 1 inch that we have here. So what I will just do is that I will just place it this way and eliminate this, right? So you can see, then I will eliminate this out, this line here. I'll just cut this place. So in that way, this pattern, this front pattern is without that. Let's keep this aside now and cut the front. So this is the reason why we have to do this line at this upper yoke, so that we don't have sharp the way we have it. We don't have it at our hip area, right? This hip area should be smooth. Here. So I'm going to cut this place too now. Our pattern. So you can see the buttocks area, right? You can see how beautiful it is. So I'm just going to remove a bit of this. So you can see how beautiful it is. So this is how your pattern should look like after you finish drafting it. This is our back pattern. So this is the front and this is the back. And This is the side. So go ahead now, place this on your fabric, add your seam allowance at the side, add your zip allowance at this other side too. You can add half an inch. So if you want to join it with lining, that is 1.5 inches. That's, you use half an inch to sew your lining, then 1 inch for your zip. Whichever seam allowance you want to make use of, go ahead and add it, right? So this is how the pattern should look like. So if this video has been helpful, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for watching. This will be the end of this video, guys. So in our next video, we're going to make use of this pattern. Thank you so much for watching.